Sometimes the loudest thing you'll ever say to someone is your absence. My friends, let that sink in for a second, because today we're not talking about blocking out anger, posting sad quotes, or pretending you're fine when you're clearly breaking inside. We're talking about something much deeper, much stronger, disappearing with purpose. The kind of quiet move that doesn't just confuse them, it makes them regret losing you so hard. They feel it every single day. And yes, it's exactly what makes them come back fast. Hey folks, imagine this for a moment. You're like a warm, glowing fireplace in the middle of winter. You give heat. You give comfort. People come close when they're cold. They sit near you. They relax. They heal. But because you're always there, they stop appreciating what it took for you to burn that bright. They think, hey, that fire will always be on. I can come and go whenever I want. So they wander off into the snow, chasing flashing lights, cheap fireworks, little sparks that look exciting for 5 seconds. At first you wait, right? You keep the fire going. You keep hoping they'll come back and see the difference between real warmth and fake flames. You send that text. You check your phone. You replay everything in your mind. You think, maybe if I explain more, if I love harder, if I'm more patient. But here's the lie we're breaking today. You do not need to burn yourself out to prove your worth to someone who already knows your value and is gambling with it. Never waste your fire on someone who only wants your light when it's convenient. So what do you do instead? You don't scream. You don't beg. You don't start a drama series on your stories. You do something they never expected. You disappear with purpose. Not disappear from life, not disappear from your responsibilities, not disappear into junk food and sad playlists. You disappear from their world and reappear in your own. You pull your energy back like a king reclaiming his throne. You stop sending paragraphs to someone who replies with one-word answers. You stop explaining your heart to someone treating your feelings like background noise. And here's the fun part, my friends. No, you don't have to shave your head, sell everything, and go live in a cave like a monk. You don't have to move to another country or suddenly become this cold robot with zero emotions. Stoicism is not about turning into a stone. It's about learning when your silence is more powerful than your words. When you disappear with purpose, you're not saying, I don't care. You're saying, I care too much about myself to stay where I'm disrespected. You become like a book they used to skim through, thinking they could always pick it back up tomorrow. Then one day the book is gone from the shelf, and suddenly it's the only book their mind can think about. They thought your presence was guaranteed. Your calls, your texts, your comfort, your checking in, your did you eat? Now nothing. Silence, distance, calm. At first they laugh it off. Relax, they'll be back. But time passes. You don't show up. You don't react. You don't chase the breadcrumbs they throw. And that's when their ego starts to panic. That's when regret quietly pulls up a chair next to their pride and says, told you so. And all of this starts with one decision. To stop using your energy to keep a dead connection alive and start using it to rebuild yourself. So stay with me, my friends. In this video, we're going to talk about how disappearing with purpose flips the whole story, why it makes them regret losing you, and why so often it makes them come back faster than you ever expected. Not because you played games, but because you finally respected yourself. If you're ready to stop chasing and start choosing you, type this in the comments. I choose purposeful silence. Press the like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me. We're just getting started. Number 1. Disappearing with purpose, not fear. Running away and rising up can look the same from the outside, but only you know which one you're doing. My friends, that line might sting a bit, but it's important, because a lot of people think they've gone silent or they've disappeared, but deep down they know they're not acting from strength. They're hiding. They're checking their phone every 2 minutes. They're still emotionally glued to the same person they're trying to escape. That's not power. That's panic dressed up as stoicism. Imagine this with me. You're standing in the middle of a stormy ocean on a tiny wooden boat. The waves are loud, the wind is crazy, and the person you care about is jumping up and down on the boat, rocking it even more. They're shouting, throwing blame, laughing 1 minute and cold the next. And you, instead of taking the wheel, keep trying to calm them down. Please sit, please listen, please understand me. You're not navigating. You're negotiating with someone who enjoys the chaos. At some point you realize something terrifying. The storm isn't just around you, it's inside the boat with you. That's when the thought appears. What if I just leave? What if I disappear? What if I stop trying to fix this? And as soon as that thought shows up, another one follows. The fear. But what if they move on? What if they never come back? What if they forget me? What if my silence proves they were right about me all along? You know those questions. They keep you stuck in the same cycle. You think disappearing means you're losing. You think staying available means you're strong. That's the lie we're breaking right here. You've been taught, maybe since you were a kid, that if you really care, you never step back. You never go quiet. You never stop trying. Parents, movies, culture, everything around you whispered, if you walk away, you gave up. So now, even when your soul is burning out, even when your mental health is falling apart, you feel guilty for wanting distance. But here's a hard truth, my friends. There is a big difference between abandoning someone and refusing to abandon yourself. When you disappear with purpose, you're not ghosting because you're immature. You're not blocking because you want to hurt them. You're not doing some dramatic, silent treatment to control or punish. You are saying, I have tried, I have repeated myself, I have stretched my heart until it hurts, and now I'm choosing me. It will feel difficult at first. Your brain will scream. It will ask, what if they think I never cared? What if they move on to someone else and treat them better? What if I was the problem all along? That's fear talking. That's old conditioning. That's the part of you that thinks love always means staying, even when staying is slowly destroying you. Think of a candle in a dark room. Its job is to shine, yes. But if the candle keeps burning in a room where no one values the light, where people keep opening windows to blow it out, knocking it over, laughing as it flickers, at some point the candle has to decide. Do I keep wasting my wax for people who enjoy seeing me unstable? Or do I remove myself from this room and place myself where my light is respected? People will say, but disappearing is childish. Real adults talk. And yes, in a healthy situation, with someone emotionally mature, you talk, you explain, you work it through. But you're not dealing with that type of person, are you? You're dealing with someone who listens just enough to calm you down, then returns to the same pattern. Someone who uses your words not to understand you, but to weaponize your vulnerability. How many times are you supposed to explain the same pain to someone who never changes their behavior? At some point, silence is not immaturity, it's clarity. There is a quote I want you to hold in your heart. You are not obligated to bleed endlessly just to prove your love to someone who keeps cutting you. Disappearing with purpose is you finally putting the bandage on. It's you stepping out of the room where you're constantly triggered, manipulated, or made to feel small. It's you saying, I'm done arguing with someone who enjoys the sound of their own excuses more than the truth. Yes, it will feel lonely at first. You'll pick up your phone and your fingers will itch to type. You'll want to check their page, their story, their last scene. You'll wonder if they noticed, if they miss you, if they even care. This is the hardest part, because your nervous system is used to chaos. Silence will feel like withdrawal. The same way someone addicted to sugar feels weird when they start eating healthy, your body will crave the drama it's been surviving on. But that discomfort is not a sign you made the wrong choice. It's a sign you are detoxing from emotional addiction. Ask yourself honestly, how many times did you stay, not because you were happy, but because you were scared to leave? How many times did you answer their message, not because you felt respected, but because you were terrified of being forgotten? How many times did you laugh at things that hurt you just to keep the peace? My friends, peace that requires you to betray yourself is not peace. It's self-abandonment with pretty wallpaper. Rising from fear means you let those questions exist without letting them control you. You let the thoughts pass through. What if they never come back? And you answer yourself, if my value depends on them returning, I've already given them too much power. You let the worry whisper, what if they replace me? And you respond, I am not a cheap item on a shelf. If they can replace me that easily, they never saw me in the first place. You may think, but I'm afraid of being alone. Of course you are. Everyone is at some level. But loneliness next to someone who doesn't truly care is a much deeper pain than loneliness in your own company. At least when you are alone and healing, you're not begging someone to pick you. You're learning to pick yourself. Disappearing with purpose is not you turning off the lights and hiding in the dark. It's you stepping out of a burning building before it collapses. It's you choosing to walk away from a table where you're always the one serving and never the one being fed. It's you saying, if I stay here, I will lose myself. If I leave, I might lose you. And if that's the price of my peace, I'm willing to pay it. And here's the beautiful part. When you walk away with intention, you create space for a new version of yourself to appear. You create the opportunity to rebuild your self-respect, your confidence, your focus, your joy. You stop begging for crumbs and start cooking your own meal. The same silence that scares you at the beginning becomes the place where you reconnect with your own voice. So if you are in that place right now, wondering if you should disappear from a situation that keeps breaking you, let this be your reminder. Disappearing with purpose is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Right about your worth. Right about your right to peace. Right about your decision to stop living like an emotional puppet. Tell yourself this, out loud if you have to. I am allowed to choose distance over disrespect. If that line hits your heart, I want you to write this affirmation in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you that you're ready for a different story. I choose distance over disrespect. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going even deeper into what really happens on their side when your presence suddenly isn't there anymore. Number 2, the ego shock. When access to you vanishes. People don't notice your value when you're always there. They notice it the second you're not. My friends, this is where things get very real. Because when you finally disappear with purpose, the first person who feels the shock might not be you. It's them. The person who thought you would always answer, always explain, always come back no matter how they treated you. For the longest time, they moved like your presence was permanent, like you were Wi-Fi in a cafe, always on, always available, always ready for them to reconnect whenever they felt like it. And then one day, the signal drops. No warning, no explanation, just quiet. At first, they laugh it off. They're just being dramatic. They'll text. That's the ego talking. The ego is like a spoiled child in a supermarket, convinced the snacks will always be there, convinced the parent will never actually walk away. They mistake your past patience for permanent access. They tell their friends, oh, they always come back. Watch. And maybe in the past that was true, Maybe you did always come back, but this time the energy is different. This time you aren't answering out of habit. This time you've decided that your peace is more important than their comfort. This is where the first crack appears in their ego, even if they don't show it. Picture them opening their phone like they always do, expecting to see your name glowing on the screen. Maybe they post a story aimed at you, a joke, a picture, something they know would usually trigger a reaction from you. Before, they could almost predict it. They knew you'd slide into their DMs, laugh, comment, send a heart. They knew how to pull your emotions like strings on a puppet, but now, nothing. No reaction, no message, no "I miss you too." They refresh the app once, twice. They check their notifications. Still nothing. That's the moment the ego stops laughing and starts asking questions. Wait, did I lose them? Are they really done this time? Did I push too hard? They won't say it out loud. They might even double down in public, post something extra confident, extra loud, as if to say, "Look how fine I am." But the louder the show, the quieter the truth usually is. Inside, they feel it. Your absence has weight. It's not loud, but it is heavy. It's like walking into a room where a painting used to hang. Most people don't notice the nails until the picture is gone. That's you. They didn't notice the way you filled their silence, their boring days, their empty weekends, until you stopped doing it. Now the gaps are obvious. The empty space where your good morning texts used to be. The comfort of knowing someone out there cared how their day went. The soft landing they had in you, even when they never admitted it. That's the ego shock. It's not just, "I miss them." It's, "I don't control this anymore." And that scares them more than they'll ever tell you, because control is what kept them relaxed. Knowing you'd always answer, knowing you'd always show up, knowing you'd forgive, that was their safety net. When that net disappears, the fall feels a lot more real. Now, their brain starts doing the same overthinking you once did. They start checking when you were last online. They wonder who you're talking to. They replay your last conversation, thinking, "Did I push them too far? Did I say something that finally broke them?" The same way you used to stare at a seen message, they now stare at your silence. It's like the roles reversed, and they don't like that feeling at all. You might be scared right now, thinking, what if they don't feel any of this? What if they just replace me? Let's break that lie. They might try to replace you in action, but they cannot replace how you made them feel. They can jump into another chat, another bed, another relationship. But when the noise dies down, when the newness fades, your absence will still be there like a ghost in the room. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real. Real presence is not easily duplicated. The ego, however, does not admit this. It will keep telling them, "You're fine, you didn't lose anything, they were too sensitive anyway." But ego can't argue with reality for long. Reality is waking up and realizing no one checked on them the way you did. Reality is hearing a song and feeling that sting in their chest. Reality is seeing your name, wanting to type something, and realizing they're not sure if they're still welcome. That uncertainty is where their regret begins. Not always immediately as a full apology, but as a discomfort that grows over time. The moment they realize you're no longer orbiting around them, something inside them shifts. Suddenly, your silence is not a mood. It's a message, and it says, "I am no longer living at your emotional convenience." Will they fight it at first? Of course. They might post more, they might talk louder, they might flirt harder with others, but those are distractions, show, performance. Deep down, the shock is there. Access is gone. The door that was once wide open is now closed, and what scares them most is that they don't know if they still have the key. This is why disappearing with purpose is so powerful. It doesn't just remove you from their life, It removes their illusion of control. It forces them to see what life looks like without your steady presence smoothing out their chaos. And whether they admit it or not, that realization is painful. So if you're in that phase where you've pulled back and you're wondering if it even matters, remember this. The ego always feels the loss of what it took for granted. It just takes a while to stop pretending it doesn't. Tell yourself this truth and let it sit in your heart. I am not afraid of what they feel in my absence. I am committed to what I build in my own presence. If that resonates with you, my friends, I want you to write this in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you that you understand your power now. My absence has value. And stay with me, because next we're going to step even deeper into their private world, the part you never get to see, where your silence slowly transforms into the regret they can't run from. Number 3. When silence becomes their private regret. Regret doesn't arrive with fireworks. It sneaks in quietly when the room finally goes silent. My friends, this is the part nobody posts on social media. This is the part you never get to see, and because you don't see it, you start telling yourself dangerous stories like, they never cared, they just moved on, my absence means nothing. But regret almost never appears in public. It doesn't start with, I'm sorry I messed up. It starts in the small, boring, ordinary moments when life finally takes its hands off their ears and lets the truth get through. At first, your silence is just odd to them, a little out of character. They might brush it off. They might think, they're emotional, they'll calm down, or they're just trying to get my attention. Their ego still feels big, still feels safe. The show is still going. The masks are still on. They're laughing with friends, scrolling, talking to new people, pretending everything is great. But your absence is already there in the background, like a song they can't quite get out of their head. Then life does what life always does. It gets quiet. The party ends. The call drops. The notifications slow down. They come home to an empty room, or sit in a car at a red light with nothing to distract them. And that's when the first real wave hits. Not a wave of, I miss their attention, but why does it feel different without them? Because you weren't just another number in their phone. You were a pattern in their day, a presence in their life, a calm in their chaos. Imagine their mind like a hallway with doors. During the day, every door is open: work, friends, distractions, noise, people. But at night, one by one, those doors close. And when the hallway is finally quiet, the only door left open is the one with your name on it. They try to walk past it. They try to tell themselves, nope, I'm good, I'm over it. But something pulls them back. A memory, a joke. The way your voice softened when you asked if they were okay. The way you understood them when they didn't even understand themselves. It doesn't look like a dramatic breakdown. It looks like them opening your old chat just to check something. It looks like them scrolling up by accident and stopping on a message where you supported them when they felt like a failure. It looks like them closing the chat quickly, then opening it again 5 minutes later because it stings and soothes at the same time. They remember how safe they felt with you, even while they were busy acting like they didn't need anyone. This is where regret starts breathing. Not loud yet, not obvious, just a tight feeling in their chest when they realize they can't just pick up where they left off. The door they assumed would always be unlocked now has a question mark hanging over it. They might ask themselves, why did I push so hard? Why did I play so many games? Why did I treat something real like it was disposable? But instead of sitting with that, their ego jumps in and tries to spin the story. They were too emotional. They overreacted. They're probably still obsessed with me. For a while, they might believe that. But your silence keeps proving that story wrong, day after day. There's a quote that fits this perfectly. You only realize how much space someone held in your life when their absence echoes louder than their presence ever did. Your silence becomes that echo. They start noticing tiny details that used to be invisible. No one checks if they got home safe. No one remembers that important meeting they were stressed about. No one sends them that random, "I'm proud of you," just because. The world goes on, of course, but something feels thinner, more shallow. The emotional depth they took for granted is missing. Here's the twisted thing. They might try to replace you, not because they've truly moved on, but because they're trying to outrun that echo. New conversations, new faces, maybe even a new relationship. But your energy doesn't just disappear because they found a new audience. Real connection leaves fingerprints on the soul. When the honeymoon phase fades with whoever comes next, they start to notice what's missing. The stability, the patience, the emotional home they had in you. You might be sitting there thinking, if they regret it so much, why don't they just say it? Because regret and ego are in a constant boxing match. One whispers, "You lost something good," and the other screams, "We don't apologize first." So they hesitate. They type, "Hey, how have you been?" Then delete it. They hover over your profile, then lock their phone. They listen to a song that reminds them of you, then switch it halfway because it makes them feel exposed. All of that is regret in disguise. It's not always clean. It's not always noble. It's messy, prideful, quiet, and stubborn. But it's real. Meanwhile, your silence keeps working like a mirror. It doesn't shout at them. It doesn't argue. It just reflects their choices back at them. They see more clearly now how you used to show up, how you used to forgive, how you tried to talk, to explain, to fix things. Your absence forces them to face a version of themselves they don't enjoy looking at, the version that wasted something rare. This is where life teaches them what you tried to say with words. You cannot play with someone's soul and walk away without consequences. The consequence isn't always losing you instantly. Sometimes it's losing the old version of you forever. The version that would have answered at midnight. The version that would have taken them back with one apology. That version is gone. Your silence buried it. Regret grows louder when they realize this. Even if they reach out, they are no longer returning to the same heart they left. You've changed. You've grown. You've seen who they are when they think you will always be there, and that knowledge has weight. So if you ever sit there thinking, maybe my silence means nothing to them, remember this: silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening where you can't see it. Their ego is wrestling with its own reflection. Their mind is negotiating with memories. Their pride is cracking in slow motion. Let this set you free a little. You are not responsible for how regret shows up in their life. You are responsible for how healing shows up in yours. Tell yourself this: I don't need to witness their regret to honor my decision. If that speaks to you, my friends, I want you to write this affirmation in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you that you're committed to your own peace now. I trust what my silence is doing. And stay with me, because next we're going to shift the camera fully back onto you, what you do with this silence, how you rebuild yourself in it, and how that inner transformation quietly changes everything. Number 4, disappearing into your own life, rebuilding the one behind the silence. Silence doesn't just remove them from your life. It gives you the space to finally meet yourself. My friends, this is where the story stops being about them and starts becoming fully about you. Because disappearing with purpose is not just about making someone feel your absence. That's a side effect. The real power is what you do with the space you get back. A lot of people go silent, but they don't go forward. They disappear from the other person's life and then disappear from their own too. They sit in a dark room, scrolling, waiting, replaying old memories like a movie on repeat. That's not transformation. That's emotional limbo. Imagine your life as a house. For the longest time, you let this person walk in and out without even wiping their feet. They tracked their moods across your floors, slammed doors, rearranged furniture, left their mess in every room. And what did you do? You apologized for the mess they made. You tried to clean up while they laughed, left, came back, left again. When you disappear with purpose, my friends, it's like you finally change the locks and look around at what's left. The silence feels heavy at first. The rooms feel too empty. But then you realize something powerful. Now, for the first time, you actually have room to rebuild. This is the part where the questions switch. Before, your mind was obsessed with, what are they doing? Who are they with? Do they miss me? Now you start asking, what am I doing with my life? Who am I when I'm not chasing them? What did I neglect in myself while I was busy begging for their attention? Those questions might feel uncomfortable, but they are the questions that save you, because they pull you out of their storyline and put you back in your own. You start to notice things you had stopped caring about. Your body, for example. How long have you been sacrificing sleep, meals, workouts, hobbies, just to be available when they text? How many nights did you stay up overthinking instead of resting? Now, the bed is yours again. The night is yours again. You can choose to spend it doom scrolling their profile, or you can choose to spend it recharging your own life force. A walk, a workout, a decent meal. Reading something that feeds your mind instead of something that feeds your fear. Think of yourself like a garden that's been stomped on. For a while it looked like nothing would grow there again. The soil was compact, the flowers bent, the ground dry. But silence is like rain if you let it be. It gives you time to pull out the weeds, old beliefs that say, I'm only valuable if someone wants me, or if they don't choose me, it's because I'm not enough. You start replacing those lies with truths. I am enough with or without their attention. My value doesn't drop just because someone couldn't see it. The more you repeat those truths, the more the soil loosens. New roots can actually take hold. This is where it gets tough though, folks, because your old self will whisper, what's the point of improving if they're not here to see it? That's the addiction talking, the part of you that lived for their reaction, their validation, their approval. You weren't just in a relationship with them, you were in a relationship with their opinion of you. Disappearing with purpose means you're breaking up with that cycle too. You're not hitting the gym so they'll regret losing you. You're hitting the gym because your body deserves respect. You're not working on your goals so they'll be impressed. You're doing it because you wasted too much time putting your dreams on pause while you tried to fix someone who didn't want to grow. There's a quote I want you to hold on to. The version of you that tolerated chaos cannot be the same version that builds a peaceful life. So you start redefining yourself. You return to things that make you feel alive. Projects, ambitions, friendships, your faith, your passions. You rebuild your daily routine. Not some dramatic movie montage, but small, consistent shifts. More water, less drama. More movement, less overthinking. More solitude, less chasing. In silence, you begin to realize you are more capable, more creative, more resilient than you ever gave yourself credit for. You begin to show up differently. Your posture changes, your voice steadies, your laugh sounds real again, not like something you perform to hide how you feel. People around you may even say, "You seem different lately." They don't know the full story. They don't know the silent battles you've won at 2 a.m. They just see the glow that comes when someone stops giving discounts on their soul. And yes, my friends, there will be days you slip. Days you want to check their profile, days you want to break the silence and send that "hope you're okay" message. Deep habits don't vanish overnight. On those days, don't hate yourself. Don't say "I'm weak." See it for what it is, evidence that you cared deeply. And then gently bring yourself back to your path, back to your routine, your healing, your mission. Stoicism isn't about never feeling tempted. It's about not letting temptation drive the car. As you keep choosing yourself, something incredible happens. You realize you're not just rebuilding a life without them. You're building a life that would have been too big to fit inside that old relationship anyway. The walls of the house are wider now. The foundation is stronger. You don't walk on eggshells anymore. You walk on solid ground of self-respect. And here's the twist. The stronger you rebuild, the less you find yourself waiting for them to regret losing you. Their regret becomes irrelevant compared to your rebirth. You start thinking less about, will they come back? And more about, is there even a version of me in the future that would want them back? The power balance has shifted completely, not because you played games, but because you finally treated yourself the way you wished they would have treated you. So if you're in that rebuilding stage now, even if it feels slow, even if it feels lonely, remember this. Every small act of self-respect is another brick in the life you're creating. You're not just surviving their absence. You're constructing a future where your happiness doesn't depend on them at all. Tell yourself this truth. I am not just healing, I am becoming someone stronger than before. If that feels real for you right now, my friends, I want you to write this in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you what you're stepping into. I am rebuilding my life in silence. And stay with me, because next we're going to talk about what this transformation does to their mind. Why your quiet evolution doesn't just change you, it pulls them back faster than you ever thought possible. Number 5. Why your transformation makes them come back fast. Nothing makes a person remember your worth faster than seeing you become everything they never believed you'd grow into. My friends, this is where the whole script flips. Because up until now, they were living in a world where you revolved around them. Your day, your mood, your self-esteem, it all used to orbit their attention, their replies, their moods. When you disappeared with purpose and started rebuilding yourself, you quietly did something they never expected. You stepped out of their gravity. And the moment you stopped revolving around them, something strange happened. They started feeling the pull instead. Think of it like this. For the longest time, you were like a river flowing toward them. No matter what they did, the water kept coming. Messages, calls, care, support. They could stand in it, ignore it, splash in it, complain it was too much, and still it flowed. They thought it was endless. They thought you were endless. Then one day, the river changes direction. It no longer flows toward them. It turns inward, back into your own land, your own life, your own growth. Suddenly, they're standing there in a dry riverbed, looking around, confused. Where did all that attention go? Where did all that warmth go? Where did that overly available person disappear to? At first, they assume you're faking it. They're just trying to make me jealous. They're just pretending they've moved on. That's easier for their ego to believe. But time exposes what's real. Because fake transformation cracks quickly under pressure. Real transformation stays steady. When they see you consistently calm, consistently focused, consistently distant, not in a bitter, petty way, but in a grounded, peaceful way, that's when something in their mind starts rewiring. They notice your energy has changed. You're not posting to get a reaction out of them. You're living. You're not writing emotional paragraphs. You're sharing wisdom, humor, progress. You're not staring at their page. You're busy building something for yourself. your health, your work, your goals, your peace. And here's what really shakes them, my friends. Your life no longer looks like it's missing them. That's a hit to the ego, because a part of them truly believed that without them you'd fall apart. They expected to see you struggle. They expected cryptic quotes, obvious sadness, desperate messages. They thought their absence was your downfall. Instead, it became your turning point. There's a brutal little truth we don't like to admit. People often respect you more when you stop needing them. Your transformation exposes something they didn't want to see, that they were not your savior. They were your distraction. And now that you've removed that distraction, your potential is starting to show. You speak differently. You move differently. You carry yourself differently. You're not tense and anxious anymore. You're relaxed in your own skin. That relaxed confidence is magnetic. Imagine them scrolling and seeing you, not flaunting, not pretending, just solid. A photo where your eyes look lighter. A post about something you're working on. A story laughing with real joy, not forced happiness. To them, it doesn't just say, "I'm okay." It says, "I have found something you never gave me. Peace." Peace is attractive as hell to people who live in chaos. They might start asking themselves questions they never considered before. Were they always this strong? Did I hold them back? Did I underestimate them? What if they're becoming the person I always wanted, just without me? Those questions don't just sting, they haunt, because now your transformation creates contrast. Contrast between how they treated you and how you treat yourself now. Contrast between how chaotic things were with them and how calm you look without them. Contrast between the old version of you that tolerated anything and this new version that silently demands respect. They start comparing, even if they're with someone new, even if they're surrounded by people. Subconsciously, they hold others up against the standard you set. Not the broken, overgiving version of you, but the grounded, evolving version of you they're watching from a distance now. And no matter who they're with, no one feels like you, because no one else lived their storms with the same kind of depth and loyalty you did. What really pulls them back fast is the fear of finality. Before, they thought, even if we go months without talking, I know I can always come back and pick up where we left off. Your transformation whispers to them, that door is closing. Not loudly, not with drama, but with undeniable reality. You're not stuck. You're not waiting. You're not frozen in the past. You are moving, evolving, outgrowing. And if they don't act soon, they know, deep down, they might return and find there's no space for them anymore. That urgency is what they feel, even if they don't say it. It's why they suddenly like an old picture. It's why they react to a random story. It's why they send that, "Hey, been a while" text. Because your transformation did something their ego wasn't ready for. It made them realize you're no longer guaranteed. Here's the part I want you to hear clearly. They may come back fast, but that doesn't mean your goal was to get them back. Your transformation must never be built on the hope of their return. That's just another prison, just dressed in self-improvement clothes. You're not leveling up to prove anything to them. You're leveling up because too much of your life was paused for someone who never pressed play on their own growth. Your rise is your responsibility, not a performance for their regret. Their regret is a side effect. Your evolution is the main event. So when they do circle back, and often they do, it won't just be because they miss you. It will be because your glow, your calm, your clarity showed them something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. You became the person they always thought you'd wait to become alongside them, but you became it without them. Tell yourself this truth and let it sink into your bones. I'm not changing to get them back. I'm changing because I'm finally choosing me. If that resonates deep in your chest, my friends, I want you to write this in the comments. Show yourself. Show me. Show the world around you what you stand for now. I evolve for me, not for them. And stay with me, because next we're going to pull the curtain back on their first moves, the subtle tests, the random messages, the accidental contact, and how you handle those moments from a place of pure emotional power. Number 6. The first signs. It's working. They're subtle moves. People rarely walk back into your life with honesty first. They usually knock with games to see if your door is still unlocked. My friends, this is the stage where things start to get interesting, because up until now, most of the work has been internal. Your silence, your rebuilding, your transformation. You've been doing the hard work in the dark, pulling your energy back, healing, growing, learning to breathe without them. But now, the outside world begins to react to that inner shift. And the very first people to feel it are often the ones who thought you'd never really leave. The signs don't start big. There's no sudden "I was wrong" paragraph, no long emotional confession. It almost never begins that way. Instead, it starts with something that looks innocent, almost harmless. A random, "Hey, been a while." A reaction to an old story you posted. A like on a picture that's weeks, even months old. Maybe they reply to a meme you shared publicly, or they slide a laughing emoji on something that has nothing to do with them. On the surface, it looks like nothing. But you and I both know it's not nothing. Think of these moments like little pebbles tossed at your window, not loud enough to break the glass, just enough to see if you're still there, still awake, still willing to come running. They don't want to risk their ego with a full apology yet, so they send a safe message. Something they can easily pretend means nothing if you don't respond. "Oh, it was just a joke." "Relax, I was just being friendly." That's the cover story. The real story is this: your silence has unsettled them, and now they want to know if they still have access. They've been feeling your absence. They've been noticing the shift. You're not orbiting them anymore. You're not the first one to reach out. You're not reacting to every little thing they post. And whether they admit it or not, it bothers them. So they send out emotional sonar, a little ping. Are you still there? You might be tempted, my friends, to see these tiny moves as proof of deep change. They messaged me. They reacted. They must miss me so much. And yes, maybe they do miss you. Maybe regret has started working on them. But you have to understand something important. Missing you and being ready to treat you right are not the same thing. This is where your emotional discipline is tested. Because the old version of you would see one "Hey stranger" and pour your heart out. You'd open the floodgates, crack jokes, send long replies, ask how they've been, give them full access again on the strength of one small knock. You'd turn a little pebble at the window into an invitation back into your home. That's why they're so confident in these subtle moves. They're used to how quickly you used to respond. But you're not that person anymore. Now you understand that not every message deserves your full emotional energy. Not every "hey" is a real attempt to rebuild something meaningful. Some messages are just ego checks, care traps, little hooks tossed into the water to see if you'll still bite. And once you recognize that, you don't have to be rude, but you do have to be wise. Imagine you're a king or queen in a castle you rebuilt with your own hands. For a long time, your gates were wide open. Anyone could walk in, take your time, drain your energy, and leave when they got bored. Now you have walls, you have guards, you have standards. So when someone from the past sends a tiny knock, you don't rush to throw the gates open and roll out the red carpet. You observe. You ask, why now? What's behind this message? Is this consistency or convenience? Is this curiosity or commitment? You don't need to overthink every word, but you do need to protect the peace you bled for. You can reply briefly if you want, or choose not to reply at all. The power is that you're no longer reacting automatically. You're not giving them the satisfaction of seeing you crumble at the first sign of attention. You're responding, or not, based on who you are now, not who you were then. Sometimes after the first subtle move doesn't pull you back in, they'll try other tactics. A post clearly aimed at you. A song in their story that used to be your song. A picture with someone new to spark jealousy. These are emotional experiments. They're trying to see what still moves you, what still triggers you, what still has control over you. But here's the beautiful shift. When you've truly been doing your inner work, those old tricks don't land the same. You might notice them, sure, you're human. You might feel a little sting, a little twinge, a little, really, we're still doing this. But instead of spiraling, you breathe. You come back to yourself. You remind your heart, I know this pattern, I've seen this show, I don't owe my peace to someone else's confusion. The first signs that your silence is working are not just in what they do, but in how you react differently. Old you sees a message and drops everything. New you sees a message and stays calm. Old you creates meaning from crumbs. New you waits to see if there's consistent effort, not just random contact. Old you thinks they reached out. I've won. New you thinks they reached out. Let's see if their actions match their words. That, my friends, is emotional power. Not blocking everyone forever, not acting cold and heartless, but being so grounded that nothing they do can drag you back into old cycles without your permission. So when those small signs start showing up, when the first pings hit your phone, when the passive-aggressive posts surface, when the, by the way, I saw this and thought of you messages slide in, remember this, your silence rearranged the dynamic. They are moving now because you stopped moving for them. Let that sink in. You don't need to rush. You don't need to teach them a lesson with dramatic replies. You don't need to prove you're over it. Your calm detachment already explains everything. Tell yourself this and feel the strength in it. I don't chase the past. I protect my peace. If that feels like your new truth, I want you to write this in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you the standard you now live by. I respond with peace, not with panic. And stay with me, because next we're going to talk about what happens when those subtle moves turn into real attempts to come back, and how you hold your frame so you never lose yourself again in the process. Number 7. When they come back, you hold the frame now. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting them back in the old way. It means you never abandon yourself to keep them. My friends, this is the moment almost everyone secretly imagines. After all the silence, after all the nights you spent wondering if they even noticed you were gone, after all the healing you did in the dark, one day your phone lights up, and it's them. Not a casual reaction this time, not a lazy hey or a random emoji. It's a real message, something heavier, something that carries the weight of everything your silence has done. I've been thinking about us. I miss what we had. I didn't realize what you meant to me until now. For a second, your heart jumps. You're human. This is the person you once would have done anything for. The person you cried over, prayed about, over-explained yourself to. There's a part of you that wants to scream, "Finally, they get it." Another part of you is scared. What if I fall back into the same cycle? What if I lose myself again trying to keep them? This is where everything you've built in your silence gets tested. Imagine you've been training in the mountains for months. You went up there weak, tired, and confused. You faced your pain, your patterns, your fears. You built strength where there used to be desperation. You learned how to breathe on your own. Now you're being invited back into the old village, the place where you once lost yourself. The question isn't, will they accept me anymore? The real question is, does this version of me still belong there? When they come back, they don't return to the same version of you they left behind. That's the first thing you must remember. They're returning to someone who has walked through fire and learned to stop apologizing for being warm. They're returning to someone whose silence turned into self-respect. Someone who doesn't chase anymore. They might come in with compliments. You've changed. You seem different. I miss your energy. They might talk about memories, inside jokes, our song, the things they know pull at your heart. They may even show more vulnerability than you've ever seen from them. Late-night messages, honest confessions, admitting they messed up. And listen, some of them will be sincere. Some people really do wake up late and realize what they lost. Others will simply feel uncomfortable with your distance and want their emotional supply back. Your job is not to guess with your heart. Your job is to watch with your eyes. Words can be beautiful. Actions are the truth. Old you would have grabbed onto those words like a lifeline. You'd instantly soften, instantly forgive, immediately go back to giving them full access. Your time, your energy, your emotional stability. New you pauses. New you listens, but also remembers. You don't hold on to the pain, but you don't erase history either. You remember how many chances you already gave. You remember how many times they promised change and delivered the same pattern in a different outfit. This time, instead of asking, "How do I make this work?" you ask, "Does this truly serve my peace?" Think of yourself now as the gatekeeper of your own life. Your heart is no longer a public park where anyone can wander in with muddy shoes. It's a private garden you've spent months bringing back to life. If they want to step in again, they don't get to stomp through like before. They have to knock. They have to wait. They have to show consistency. They have to respect the space they once took for granted. It will be tempting to move fast. A part of you is tired of being strong, tired of being the bigger person, tired of holding it together alone. You might think, if I let them back in like before, maybe this time it will just feel easier. But easy isn't always healthy. Familiar isn't always safe. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is rush back into the same fire just because it feels warm. You can choose a different path now. You can respond slowly. You can ask real questions. What has changed? What are you willing to do differently? What does effort look like to you? Not in a demanding, angry way, but in a calm and grounded way. You're not begging anymore. You're interviewing. You're also quietly checking your own heart. Do I really want this again? Or am I just missing who I was when I thought they loved me? And here's something important. Choosing not to take them back does not make your silence a failure. It makes your silence a filter that did its job. Maybe their regret arrived, but their growth didn't. Maybe they came back with feelings, but without the maturity to handle you. You're allowed to say, "I appreciate your honesty, but I'm not going back into something that broke me." That's not cruelty, that's wisdom. If you do decide to give them another chance, you're doing it as a new version of yourself. You don't drop your boundaries just to keep them comfortable. You don't stop your routines, your goals, your healing work just because they returned. You don't shrink your light just to make sure they don't feel guilty. You let them step into the life you've been building, not drag you back into the one you had to escape from. They no longer get to be the sun with you as a planet orbiting around them. If they're going to be in your life, they stand beside you, not above you. Remember this quote and carry it with you. If someone returns to a stronger version of you and still expects the old you, they're not honoring your growth. They're planning to repeat your past. The real power of disappearing with purpose is not that they regret losing you and come back fast. The real power is that when they do come back, you are no longer desperate for their return. You are in a position to choose, not plead, to discern, not dream, to decide from clarity, not from fear. So, my friends, if you ever find yourself in that moment, reading the long apology, hearing the "I miss you," seeing them trying to come back into your life, pause and remember the mountain you climbed in your silence. Do not throw away your peace to relive a story you already survived. Tell yourself this truth out loud if you have to. I won't lose myself to keep anyone again. If that hits home for you, I want you to write this in the comments. Show yourself, show me, show the world around you exactly who you are now. I choose myself first. And if this entire journey through silence, regret, and rebirth spoke to you today, do me a favor. Hit that like button so this message reaches more people who need it. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video like this, and share this with someone who's struggling to let go or tempted to break their silence too soon. If you feel moved to go one step further and support this work, you can also tap the Super Thanks button and contribute in whatever way feels right to you. But most importantly, my friends, walk away with this truth in your heart. When you disappear with purpose, their regret might bring them back. But your new self decides whether the door ever opens again.